Rabbi Meza, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate you taking the time to have a conversation with me. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. My name is Rabbi Meza. I'm based out of South Florida. I run an organization called Torah Judaism International, which could be found at torahjudaism.org. And I'm an Orthodox rabbi. I do something that most Orthodox rabbis don't do. I encourage people to consider becoming Jewish, and I help them along in that process. I consider myself a rational Jew as much as a religious person could be rational, and for sure reasonable. And I love dialoguing. I think people learn the most via dialogue. I really don't like people who only have monologues, so I really appreciate what you do.
Cool. I'm an atheist, by which I mean I believe that there's no evidence for the existence of a God. Could you tell me some of the reasons there are to believe in a God, and particularly Orthodox Judaism?
Mm-hmm. So my famous phrase is that I don't believe in the Torah, in the Jewish scriptures, because of God. I believe in God because of the Jewish scriptures. Meaning, this God is presented to us as an ethical God. Someone who, if one would emulate, his or her surroundings would improve. This is why this book has essentially been the main book, not the only book, but the main book that I would say has civilized the world. And that's probably the main reason to consider following the author of at least the ethical portions of this book. And that's what we call the Torah.
So your argument is that because this book was the most popular in shaping the world, therefore it's true?
Well, no. The most, or one of the most ethically influential books. So meaning that I think because of the society that we live in today, everyone, even atheists, should at least pay tribute to the idea that it's the values within this book that have civilized the world more than any other book, at least consistently. There's many other books that have great values. But you'd have to compare many other books to really compete against this essentially one book of the law. This is why I even encourage atheistical individuals to consider living like there is a God, in particular the God of the Bible, for the sake of their children. Just because people who are religious typically give more money, they donate more time, they're more benevolent, they live richer, fuller lives. And I think that's probably the best reason for someone to consider calling themselves a religious individual. Yeah.
Well, what are we considering exactly? So the fact that the book has helped people shape their understanding of morals or culture, or what exactly is it that indicates that it's true?
Well, not that it's okay. I'm not making an argument that it's true, but in life, the choice is typically not between what's utopian and what's horrific, but between what's good and what's better. So I think religion should lie, at least regarding this book, in the fact that this book has helped more than any other particular book civilize the world. And now, understanding the history of when the Torah was given, or when the Bible says the Torah was given, it seems that this book was ethically sophisticated, head and shoulders above every other belief system. So it appears at a time where people were behaving like animals, and it introduced a system that was ethically revolutionary at the time. I'm not saying perfectly ethical, but a lot more ethical, or consistently ethical, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Code of Hammurabi, the Book of the Dead. So it seems that it must have had some sort of divine source, something other than men.
What's the connection that leads to a divine source?
Because of how consistently ethical it was. Now, I mean, some could say that you could have grabbed the finest ethical minds at the time to produce such a work, but if that was the case, this would have been that work they produced. So, I mean, just on that alone, and that would be a statement of faith as well. I mean, I think that's more far-fetched to assume that perhaps a good God gave us some insight for us to elevate ourselves from the animal, and that we should pay tribute to that, to the fact that one God, that a God, and I'm not even saying that it's exactly the same God that appears in the Bible, because I don't think the Bible does such a great job in defining this God. But this being cared for us so much that he gave us a higher standard to aspire to, which in some ways should allow us to pay tribute to that fact and kind of care for him almost just as much. And that's kind of like the give and take in, I would say, Judaism. I mean, perhaps you haven't spoken to many Jews. Our belief system differs a bit from Muslims and Christians, although Islam and Christianity are both offshoots of Judaism. But it's more of praising God for giving us a higher standard to aspire to. And it's basically a belief system where we distinguish ourselves by our actions. And it's a belief system that really cares more about what you do than what you believe. Although it's kind of a catch-22, because why would anyone want to keep this law unless they believed that it came from some sort of divine source? I mean, I take a different approach, like I said. I mean, I
Well,
believe.
what do you mean? You said it's morally consistent. What exactly are you talking about?
No, it's more ethically consistent than any other belief system, meaning I'm not going to deny that there's some ethical aspects to other belief systems, but I don't think that the average person could really claim that the Bible hasn't had the most influence. I'm not saying the Bible in particular, but the commandments within the Bible, the individual moral training that's in the Bible.
What do you mean by ethically consistent?
No, more ethically consistent, meaning there's
What does the
ethical
word
ideas.
what does the word ethically consistent mean? What do those things mean when they're put together? What do you mean by ethically consistent?
Well, there's in a textbook definition. I'm trying to get to give over a descriptive term of a book that has had more ethical influence in society than any other book, to at least get us where we are today. I mean, that's what I mean.
So just the fact that it's affected more people?
More societies, yes, and people. I mean, from the
And
national to the personal. Yeah.
why does that matter towards truth? Like at one time it wasn't. There were other books that had more influence at different points in time. So,
Well,
and
the
there are
term truth is very subjective. I mean, I've never used the word truth. I'm saying that we should pay tribute to, I mean, just weigh out the evidence in terms of, I'm not saying the evidence of incidents that may have occurred in the Bible, but just the individual moral training that this book has instituted. I mean, I'm pretty sure you acknowledge that the world is probably a better place because of individuals who adhere to this book, whether it's Christians, Jews, possibly even Muslims, than when people didn't have a bedrock ethical standard to aspire to.
I don't
Would you disagree with
understand.
that?
I don't understand what you mean by that. So like people had moral standards prior to the Abrahamic Bible. The Abrahamic Bible takes moral standards from other books like the Epic of Gilgamesh and
No,
other
for
different
sure.
tales.
That's what I'm saying. More consistently ethical in terms of this book has been a lot more ethically influential to where we're at today than the Epic of Gilgamesh. And we don't have societies nowadays built off of the Code of Hammurabi, the Epic of Gilgamesh, or the Book of the Dead. They're essentially built off of what we call the Bible, more than any other belief system. I'm not saying the other belief systems are disposable. I'm just saying that it seems that this book has been more ethically influential than the other books. Would you disagree with that?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what that means. Like I could say Harry Potter has had equally as much influence.
In terms of
Therefore,
ethics?
yes.
You think
Therefore,
so?
we should
Okay.
treat it that way, treat it some way with some reverence because it has had impacts on millions of people. That's I don't understand.
Well, Harry
why
Potter's
that's
not
important.
a book of law. I mean, Harry Potter is essentially narrative. In terms of law,
from my perspective, so is the Bible. It's nothing but narrative. But I don't understand like what exactly
possibly
you're
the
saying.
Christian Bible, not the Jewish Bible. The Torah, a big chunk of the Torah. As a matter of fact, in the Bible, there's only one section of that Bible that actually claims to be divine, and that's the revelation. According to the narrative, the revelation that was received or began at Mount Sinai and ended at the end of Deuteronomy, of God giving us an ethical code. That's that. If you want to compare that to Harry Potter, I mean, go right ahead. But it's hard to deny that many legal systems took their inspiration from this text.
Sure. So did the witch hunts and the Inquisitions and the Crusades. But I don't.
Right.
Again, I'm not understanding.
Right,
like,
and our
what
Constitution
your
as well.
argument is.
Okay.
No, that's actually against the Bible in many ways. There's actually a number of different studies that have been done that shows the most of the Constitution is secular values moving away from the Christian values of the time period. I don't
I didn't say
understand.
I didn't say it was built solely off the Bible, but it was influenced mainly from the Bible. Our founding
No, it
fathers
was
were
influenced
deists.
mainly from secularism. Thomas Paine was not influenced by the Bible at all. He did not believe. Most of the founding fathers did not believe in the Bible, and most of the values
The
don't
vast
come from the
majority. Hold
Bible.
on. Okay. All right. So then, like, we could discuss opinion. We can't discuss fact. The vast majority of our founding fathers were deists. Deists were individuals that believed in biblical values to some extent. I
No,
understand the Jefferson Bible.
deist just believe means you believe in a God. It doesn't mean you believe in a
No,
Christian God. Like,
as a term, but the early founders were Christian deists. This is why the Jefferson Bible is essentially the Christian Bible without the miracles included,
no,
because
that's
they
false. So you don't get an opinion on that. We know for a fact most of them did not believe in the Christian concept of a
okay.
God. Most of them
All right.
rejected that.
So
They were
we'll let
very
the
secular.
audience.
Like Thomas Paine
Okay.
was an
I
atheist.
I mean it's
But
okay.
but
I mean
again, I don't
okay. Go ahead.
understand. I don't understand the
Mhm.
relevance here. Like saying that there was a book that was the most popular, therefore we should. I don't know what you're
Pay
trying to say
tribute.
we should do. What does
Pay
that
tribute.
mean? What does that mean?
Pay tribute. That we acknowledge where our values come from primarily. And by doing that, this gives us a semblance of the God this Bible is presenting to us, an ethical, just God that we should strive to emulate. I'm not saying the Bible's perfect, okay? And I'm not trying to make that argument to an atheist who doesn't believe in the Bible. I'm just saying that the first step to appreciating the God of the Bible is acknowledging his ethical law code and paying tribute on how that code has civilized society. But it seems like you have a hard time even acknowledging that it's done any good.
Well, the Bible at its time did a lot of good. It was at its time revolutionary in the fact that it had
Mhm.
moral progress compared to other systems at the time. Now it's morally regressive. So we move past
Mhm.
that. It's kind of like
Mhm.
a spear. A spear was a
Mhm.
phenomenal tool that made lots of benefit at the time. Now we have something significantly better.
Mhm.
And so we get rid of the old thing. So, I mean, I understand
Mhm.
that there were advancements that religion made in the past that were revolutionary, that had many positive influences at the
Mhm.
time. And then after those influences were made, we then made new, better influences that
Mhm.
were
So I consider
left
this progress in this
behind.
discussion, and I appreciate whether you said this. Now, I would consider this cut flower ethics. Societies that have tried to reinvent the wheel ethically, like the Soviet Union, North Korea, Cuba, Cambodia, we see they only leave a blood trail of blood and carnage. All right. Now, I
Wait,
understand.
I don't care about any of those
Okay.
examples. I care about Norway, Sweden, Japan, Denmark, the United States, places that get rid of all of the bad values. Like saying
What's
that there are
funny
some bad ones, like
because
I don't care.
so those societies aren't atheistical societies.
Yes, they are.
50 years ago, they were almost fully religious. I'm
Yes,
just
and
saying
then we
Norway
left
and
those
Sweden.
behind. So I
Okay,
agree. They were
so that means
religious, and
so
then
it's
we
called cut flower
dumped
ethics.
those.
Cut flower ethics means someone has a parent, a grandparent that influenced them with biblical values. Now it's easy to claim to be a secular humanist without the Bible when you've been living entrenched in a society that's full of biblical values. That's what
I
paying
don't. I don't
tribute
think you
actually is.
understand how progress works. So at one time, most people used the spear.
Mhm.
And before that, there was other technologies. There was rocks, right? So if you want to say that our entire society is based on spears, that would be dumb because we
Mhm.
don't use spears anymore. Like at one time, yes, we
We're talking
used
about ethics.
spears.
We're not talking about
Wait.
tools
I'm
here.
trying to
Sure,
explain to you the basic logic here. So
no problem.
at one time, spears were the foundation of our society. We couldn't have survived without spears. Spears were how we lived, they were how we fed
Mhm.
ourselves, they're how we defended ourselves. But if you were going to say that our modern society is built on spears, that would be dumb because we haven't used spears for a very long
Mhm.
time. We've
I
moved
think this
past spears.
analogy, I'm sorry, is a bit dumb. No, I'm just saying because you're going on a
Wait.
tangent, but it's not comparable. Spears, the invention of the spear, and ethics in general, at a time when people were worshiping stones, I mean, it's not ethically comparable.
It is exactly ethically comparable. Now, let me finish and then you can respond. So, at one time, we used spears. If you wanted to
Mhm.
say our entire society was built on spears, you would be wrong because we used bow and arrows after spears and we used guns after bow and arrows. There are progress we've made since that one time. Focusing on that one time period, which may have been important at that time period, and then saying our entire society is built on the values of spears would be asinine because we've made progress since then. We've moved past that.
Well, that's not my
Likewise,
argument, by the way.
in ethics, religion was very valuable at the time period thousands of years ago, as it did provide an ethical foundation at that time, just like a spear. But since then, we've evolved past those ideologies. The bad features of religion have been improved upon based on non-religious, secular, humanist values, which is actually the predominant value system in the world right now, which goes against religion. So we've taken the slight amount of progress religion made, which was good for the time, and then we've moved past that. We've improved it more with secular values, which is why the most peaceful societies with the least crime, least death, least murder, least rape are secular societies that go away from religion, that get rid of religion and start adopting secular values independent of religion.
Okay, great. Okay, so by a simple fact that regarding Scandinavian countries, you acknowledge that around 50 years ago, they were mainly religious. The vast majority of households in America are religious. As a matter of fact, it's been secular movements in the last 150 years that have been responsible for the death of over 180 million souls in the name of throwing away religion and reinventing the world ethically.
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm just going to mute you. So
sure.
That is false. Those are communist movements. They are not secular movements.
You have to let me respond, man. I mean, I let you speak. For 3 minutes.
I'm correcting you. That was the full statement. So those were not secular movements. They were communist movements.
Built on secularism. Socialist movements were predominantly secular.
No, they're not.
What do you mean? So they were built.
They're not. There's no. What are the secular values? What are the secular values implemented in communism?
Reinventing the world ethically and tossing out the Bible as a standard.
Where are those written into the book of secularism?
In the Communist Manifesto.
Okay, again, the question is what values in communism were built on secular values? So you can't say, oh, the Communist Manifesto are the secular values.
Oh, wait a minute.
Reason.
I mean, something.
What secular values?
Okay.
What values in the tome of secularism are the foundational values of communism?
I'm aligning the phrase atheistical with the phrase secular.
Right.
For some reason, you're making a distinction.
You can't.
Also, then your argument is not for a belief system that doesn't include God.
What you're saying is as stupid as saying a bunch of non-golfers committed the Holocaust.
I'm not saying that what you're saying is stupid. I mean, to use
I'm saying what you're saying is stupid. So if you say that the Holocaust, the communism and socialist movements and the fascist movements were secular, that's like saying that the communist and fascist movements were done by non-golfers. All the non-golfers, the values of non-golfers killed all these people.
I didn't mention fascism. I was specifically talking about an atheistical movement, initially known as social democracy, later known as communism.
That literally doesn't matter what I said. So again, pay attention to what I'm saying here. Saying that someone does not believe in a God as an influence for an action is like saying someone does not play golf, and that is the influence of their action. So you attributing their deaths to secularism as if the values of secularism caused that is like saying the values of not playing golf are what caused that. There are infinitely many things that those communities did not do. They didn't play polo. They didn't go to the Arctic and catch whales. They didn't do a lot of things. The fact that they also didn't believe in a God can't be an inspiration for action. You can't attribute it to secularism because secularism isn't a motivational principle.
And so my response is built. Hold on. Okay.
Go ahead.
My response is built on the idea that secularism, at least within this argument, aligns itself with atheism. Okay. Atheism, every atheist movement is essentially secular, correct? Now, you can even have a religious society that's partially secular.
Were you not listening? So again, what I said was atheism and secularism is not a set of values or motivations. You can't use a lack of something as a motivation to do something. If you want to say that the people communists killed was motivated by atheism, then there would have to be some principle in atheism that would attribute those actions, that would cause those actions.
The biblical standard. That's what it is. Tossing away the biblical standard and reinventing the will ethically. That's what caused those actions. Now, secularism.
Stop. Wait. Stop. So again, that's false. So again, you can't say tossing.
We're going to disagree there. Absolutely.
Whoa. So this is the problem: is that you have taken a small selection of people who have a particular ideology, communism, and that communism motivated them to kill people, and then you've done a correlation versus causation fallacy. So also they didn't believe in a God. Therefore, the fact they didn't believe in a God is the reason they did these things. Now, you would have to provide evidence for that, and you can't because it's been proven false in every scientific journal. Wait.
I mean, you're making these statements so matter-of-factly, and you're not allowing me to respond.
This has been proven. It's not even up for debate. Like we have published papers that have proven this, and it's logically easy to prove. A non-position cannot motivate. You have to have a positive position to motivate. So saying that the communists, Saying that communists' killings were due to atheism is like saying it was due to the fact they did not play golf. It's logically impossible
Please
for
let me
a
respond, man.
negative.
I mean, you're
to
speaking a
cause
lot
an
more than I
action.
am. It should at least be 60-40. And right now
You
it's
have
like
talked more
80-20.
than me.
Oh, well, that's actually not true. That's actually not
Hey,
true.
go ahead, talk. I finished my statement. Go.
Sure. I mean, I think the huge problem you're making, the huge error, is in some way saying that secularism in some way aligns with your position when there are religious societies that are also secular at the same time. However, this discussion is atheism against religion or the belief of the God of the Bible. So perhaps you should stick to the original conversation instead of like moving the goalpost.
Literally none of that was what I said. Like, what do you think my argument was there?
You're saying that a belief system that doesn't believe in anything cannot be held account or
motivate.
So atheism, by definition, secularism that's not religious, a secular society that's not religious, is essentially built on nothing. It's moved by the person's heart. It's not comparable to a religious society that knows where its values come from. So I'm not sure the argument what you're trying to make here. By definition, your side doesn't hold anything as concrete, correct?
Right.
Ethically concrete.
Right. So there's no values built into secularism.
Okay. So then what's your point then in attacking societies that have their values built on something? I think communist societies.
I wasn't.
Communist societies are probably the best example, for people speaking in your behalf. Societies built essentially on nothing, right? That left a trail of blood and carnage. I don't think that's too hard to understand.
No, because they weren't built on nothing. They were built on a whole bunch of values, like Marxism and communism. Those are values. Those are value systems that have values in them that aren't secular. They're not atheist values. There are value systems in those political economic systems, and those values
they were ideologies. They had an ideology behind them. And even that ideology shifted because nothing was grounded on anything. From Lenin,
why are you interrupting?
From Marx
it seems like you don't understand the argument here. Like this is a solved debate in academia. If you're just wrong, everyone knows you're wrong.
Yeah, but you're quoting.
This is extremely.
Yeah, but you keep on saying
knowledge.
It's solved. This and this.
Yes, this is solved.
This
like 1 + 1 = 2. We solved this.
Should be based on reason and logic, not because I could say the same thing you're saying. This has been solved.
Yes. I'm explaining to you why this is solved.
All you're telling me.
I'm gonna mute you.
You have to explain it to me.
I'm gonna mute you. I've literally been trying to explain this to you the whole time. This is solved. Atheism can't motivate because for the reason you said, there are no values there. There's no values in atheism. So atheism can't motivate anything because it has no principles to cause you to do anything. What can cause you, if you don't have any principles, then so you can have something else. Something else can cause you to do something. Like if you're a communist or a cannibal or something, or a Christian, you can have those values that are built into those systems can motivate you to do things.
And I disagree with that, by the way. Atheism could motivate. As a matter of fact, people who hold nihilistic, i.e. values, which is,
nihilism isn't atheism.
People who hold a nihilistic approach, just let me finish my point here, typically dislike those who claim to have a purpose, who claim to have a standard. So it does motivate. This is why the left is motivated to attack the right every turn they make. Why? What's motivating the left if they don't have a Bible? Just the hatred of anyone else claiming that they do have a better path. So
literally no one. Literally no one. You're talking about no one. No one has that position. No one's like on the left, I hate the right because they have a moral
by
system.
definition.
No one.
Antifa,
no one believes that.
BLM. The left is
why
do
you think they hate the right? Because it's not because they have a moral system. That's not the reason. There are lots of people. That's the main reason. No, it's not.
Secular people get frustrated.
Moronic.
Like
that's literally moronic.
Okay. Well, there you go. Insulting me again.
Wait. Yes, because what you said is so asininely stupid.
Okay.
If you're right, let's assume you're right. Shut up. If you were right, I'm going to mute you. Stop.
Okay.
If you were right, and the left I muted you so no one can hear you. But if you were right, and the left hated people because they had moral values, then they would hate Hinduism because they had moral values. They would hate Judaism because they have moral values. They would hate everyone in the world who had moral values, but they don't. Why? Because that's not the reason. The reason Antifa and Black Lives Matter hate those other groups is because they do things that harm them. They impose their moral values on others without consent. Moron. All right. That was dumb. Anybody else want to chat? Come on, chat. Do a live stream thing. Let's see here. Do graphics. Call in time. Call in whereby.com/TJump. Feel free to join the whereby link if you would like to chat. I am not a conservative, Carol. I am a middle centrist. I'm a centrist, so I'm not conservative. Where is Nathan? That's a good question. I don't know where Nathan is. He's probably at the gym doing legs. That's correct. It was like talking to a potato. It's no problem. I don't feel insulted by anything. So that's right. My position is everyone is wrong and I am right. That is my political stance. If anyone wants to join in chat, or you can do the Discord too. Pull up the Discord. Well, a guy joined and then left. Anybody want to join the chat, have a conversation about stuff? Feel free. Discord. General. Let's go to general. How are you guys doing in the chat? Anything interesting going on? I just got back from I was a speaker for the Black Non-Believers at CCon. That was interesting. That was a really cool event. Went to Mexico, Honduras, Belize, Cozumel, Mahogany Bay. Boy. I have not tried generating stuff. Hey, Luca, how's it going? I cannot hear you. TJump, did you ever do that prayer therapy thing? I don't think so. I don't think so. We wanted like 2 hours or something. I don't think I ever did that. What's happening? Tim, the guy rage quitted, so we're just doing a Q&A. If anybody wants to join the whereby thing or the Discord to chat, feel free. Do you think a theist is a deluded atheist? Sort of. Hey, Bill, how's it going? How's Darth Docking going? Darth Dawkins, I haven't seen him since the Discord things. It's been a while. I got my PS5. That's true. So I got my PS5 is on the way. So I'll do some gaming and stuff. Still can't hear you, Luca. Nothing there. Best thing I ate on the cruise. I had a whole lobster. That was really good. The whole lobster tasted really good. The pizza on the cruise was really good. They had a lot of really good food on the cruise. But yeah, I think the whole lobster was probably some of the best. Iron Chariots. DD Darth Dawkins will not come on stream. He'll only participate in conversations where he has full mod power. He doesn't do well in conversations where he doesn't have mod power. The cruise was really good, Tim. It was a lot of fun. Probably the best trip I ever had. Hey, Luca, I can hear you now.
I had some questions about your moral system.
Go for it.
Okay, so my understanding of it, of your interpretation of morals, is that they are objective. I mean, it's a hypothesis, your hypothesis.
Yep.
It makes a lot of sense to me to start saying that. But at the same time, they're not necessarily logically consistent, are they? I mean, it may or may not be a problem, but is that the case? So, like,
what do you mean logically consistent? Hello, hello, Stu from Discord. I also hear you as well.
Like, what if it's my will to impose on someone else's will? Is that? I mean,
your will in this model only applies to yourself and your property. So by definition, if you will to harm someone else's will, that's not an imposition on your will because your will isn't being imposed upon by your inability to impose on others. So just the definition of will only applies to yourself and your property. So it's only an imposition on your will if you can't do something within the purview of yourself and your property. But since someone else isn't your property, it's not an imposition on your will that you can't do stuff to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Right. Okay, interesting. And then this model obviously also expands to predictions such as that things that we don't consider immoral yet, for example, like a rock dropping on someone's head is immoral.
Yes, if a rock falls on your head and it imposes on your will without your consent, that would be immoral. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Somebody asked how much I paid for my PlayStation 5. I paid like $550 for it. I got it from Amazon. So it was just the regular price. I didn't do like the eBay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, other than that, actually, the things you say make sense.
Thanks.
You want to play some chess?
Yeah, let's do it. Do you have a link that you can put in the chat somewhere?
I might. Let's see. Um, link, play with a friend, casual. Do you have a preferred time control?
Not really. I don't really care.
Yeah. How about my worst time control? 3 minutes. Okay. Put a link in.
Should be a chat.
Actually, the YouTube chat might not be the best chat.
Yeah, like there's a
This
chat for
chat-
whereby. There's a whereby chat where you can post it. We're only
This chat might be better, yeah.
chat. There we go. Link a new tab.
Okay.
And Austin Hill, how's it going? All right.
Hey, TJump.
Join the game. What's up?
Hey, I just had some questions about your philosophy on objective morality.
Sure.
Yeah, so as I understand it, the basis of the argument is that it's wrong to impose your will onto other people, correct?
It's any involuntary imposition of will, so not just you imposing it, but anything imposing it.
Okay. So let's say like there was a surprise birthday party, right? Like I threw a surprise birthday party for somebody.
No, that would not be immoral unless you had specifically wrote into your model that you hate surprise birthday parties.
You know, a lot of the times like people will be like, no, don't give me a surprise birthday party. No, but they do it anyway. Would that be immoral?
So consent is defined as if you could write all possible actions into a category of accepted and unacceptable, things that can happen and things that can't happen. If a person was to put surprise birthday parties onto that list, then it would be immoral if they put it on the can't happen list, and it would be moral if they put it on the can happen list. And so if it was in your universe, you would be able to decide whether it could or couldn't happen. And so it's up to the individual whether they would put that on the allowed list or not allowed list. And if they put it on the allowed list, it's moral. And if they put it on the unallowed list, it would be immoral.
Okay. I think I heard you. I mean, I may be wrong, but is it under? Do you believe there's like some type of moral particle in the universe or something like that?
No, that's just a hypothetical explanation of what could cause objective morality.
Okay. So what is that like your main theory on what causes it? Like what would be like the best, I guess, explanation for what causes objective morality?
Anything, it doesn't make a difference. Any physical object could do it. Law of physics could do it. That's my best, what I like the best. But the actual ontology doesn't make a difference. Law of physics, particle, I don't care.
Okay. Could it be somewhat related to like suffering? So like if I cause somebody to suffer, it would be objectively wrong too. Like you know, like killing animals allows sentient beings to suffer, so it'd be wrong to kill an animal, right?
Not unless the suffering was like instantiated as being the wrong thing by something. Suffering in and of itself can't just be wrongness or something.
So there could be positive suffering.
If
Because
like
stuff,
there has to be some existing object independent of suffering itself, which would say that suffering is immoral. So it has to be some criteria for morality that says that this particular thing is moral or immoral. And just saying that suffering doesn't tell you whether or not it's right or wrong. So suffering on its own isn't it. Just existing doesn't say whether or not it's right or wrong.
Okay. Could we start with the premise that suffering is generally something people are opposed to, so it would be wrong to?
Well, their opposition to it wouldn't make a difference here either. So what we need is like some kind of instantiation that shows it's wrong because of something else. There has to be some truth maker.
Okay. Okay, I hear you. And then with the whole mind thing, you take a completely physicalist approach, like on consciousness.
Yeah.
So like, you don't believe that like neurons like or anything are conscious? So like, if neurons or like any part of the brain itself making up the brain, any particles aren't consciousness, how do they come together to?
Wait, they are. So I'm a physicalist, so I think they are consciousness. What?
Okay. So so neurons possess some type of consciousness?
Yeah, like I'm an identitarian, so consciousness and the physical brain states are identical.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Okay. Nice. Yeah, well, I was just really curious about these things, so I just figured I'd ring in.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yep, anytime.
Yeah, y'all enjoy your chess now.
Thanks. I'm currently
All right.
losing
Bye.
badly.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Yep.
I have another question.
Sure.
So, it's basically the same thing again, but I mean, you know of split personalities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the case of split personalities, there's maybe one person with multiple personalities. So
What about it?
what if in that case, because so I guess in effect what this is the line becomes more difficult. The line between the two people is more difficult to define, right?
I don't think so, not necessarily. Like each conscious state would be an individual. And so I think the moral thing to do would be to separate the conscious states. Obviously, if there's two consciousnesses trapped in the same body, then that would be like
Yeah,
an imposition. One of them would be being imposed upon, which would be immoral. And
yeah,
so we should try to
I
like free
guess,
them.
it makes sense, yeah. Yeah, it's a pragmatic thing then to be
Yeah.
able to distinguish then, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Hmm. Mhm. Uh, I watched your Darth Dawkins debates,
Why? Why would you do that?
if one could call them debates, and I just wondered how you have the patience to talk to such people.
Money. Money is
Yeah, I
the
guess
answer.
money can be quite persuasive. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, because it's just because in the end, there's so much projection. I don't. Yeah. Take this one. Yeah. Mhm. To escape. Yay! Mm.
All right, good game.
Thanks. Yeah. Mm.
All right, that's. Hey, Super Squid Hunk, how's it going?
Anything else?
Cruss is in the Discord. Hey, how's it going, Cruss? Are you in
Hey,
Minnesota,
what's up, TJump?
Luca?
No, I am actually in Berlin, Germany.
Nice.
I'm assuming you're on Twitch,
So it's
right?
actually 4:40 a.m.
I'm in all of my streaming things, so YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all of the things. Cruss.
I didn't see you on YouTube, and
Wait,
and
what?
I couldn't. I can't remember how to log into Twitch right now. Working on it.
Well, I should be on YouTube because there's 75 people watching, so I don't think I have a different one that has that many people watching. Yeah, I'm live on YouTube right now.
Strange. I looked you up. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't actually think I have any more questions. But oh,
Well, if you know any like religious conventions or religious people in Germany, get them to invite me to be a speaker. We can debate them live in Germany. That'd be awesome.
yeah, I do. I do know some religious people, but it's strange. So one of them is my older brother, for example. But he's not in Germany, he's in Denmark. But and he's a Jehovah's Witness,
Oh God.
and so my experience is that they just generally don't debate or talk to others about their beliefs, but then they smugly hold to the correctness of their beliefs.
That's pretty typical of religious people.
Yeah. So they just won't debate. They won't present their beliefs, and then they'll just quietly think themselves right.
Yeah. Have I ever debated Rachel Wilson? I do not know who that is.
Yeah.
Super Squid Hunk, send me a link, like email me or something of like a YouTube link of who that is, so I can send them out an invite. She's a Christian. She's been on MDD a few times. Modern day debates.
Yeah, okay. If I think of something else that I'd like to ask you, then I think I'll just ask. I'll just knock again, okay?
Sure, anytime.
Okay. Otherwise, ciao. Bye bye. Have a good stream.
Peace out. See you
All the
later.
rest. Peace out.
Hey, Discord guys, Odd Rabbit Trust, how's it going?
I think you scared him off. Yeah. This is Beowulf, by the way. This is just the alt.
Nice. I do recognize your voice.
Yeah. I just Usually when I'm running around on my phone, I don't like to be a admin in the server because people ask me to do shit. I have an alt, so I can look like I can't do anything.
I just tend to try to look like that all the time.
well, being inept is one thing, but it's hard to look inept all the time. All right. Oh, Rabbit is back. What's up,
Cool.
Rabbit?
Tom, can I ask you a question?
No.
Yep.
Uh,
There you go. Gotta go now.
What's up?
so, on Godless Girls wiki.
No, I'm not
fandom-
Kent Hovind's son.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. I was like, that's so unbelievable.
Yeah, she's trolling when she wrote that.
That's a good troll, though, Tom. It is.
I've been
You
asked a
changed your-
number of times. It's like the 10th time someone's asked me.
Why don't you hit her back? Say, like, she's Nancy Pelosi's niece or something.
I think that would only like throw gasoline on the fire. I don't think there's any productive way to accomplish that.
Do you have your own fandom?
My own fandom? What? Oh, is that you mean that
Like
like a page on the website or something? Like, no, I don't.
Ah,
She made it for me, so I'll just use hers. It works for me. Plus, I think it's entertaining, so I wouldn't change it.
But it makes me curious if Kent Hovind's ever been asked.
That would be funny.
Yes, it would.
it's good to get the conspiracy theories out.
He could be Eric's half brother.
Yeah. Uh,
Who is Godless Girl related to?
I don't think she has relatives. I think she was born from a spawning pool.
Yeah, nobody that claims her anyway.
Let in. No. Hello, no. Cannot hear you, no. Okay, no, did not say anything. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. I have some questions about your morality system.
Oh, good.
I'm trying to understand better the origin of it. You've said before, I think, that you've derived it from looking at scientific evaluation of moral progress. Is that right?
Patterns of moral progress and moral intuition, yeah.
Right. Do you think that applies to all conscious experiencers or just like our local sample size of mammals?
Yeah, I think it would apply to all conscious things. That is the prediction, at least.
Okay. So pretty much my only question.
Okay. Yeah, I think that
Um,
as we see increases in intelligence and resource management, more things will become more moral. And if we ever discover aliens or AIs that get to that stage beyond us, they'll be more moral than we are. I think that yes, so it will apply to all conscious agents.
What is I guess what does morality mean in that sense?
What?
Like things are more moral. By your definition, I think that's like things are things that happen are less against the will of conscious beings.
Well, so like morality is a word that refers to the phenomenon of what we feel is right and wrong, and I think that that is the pattern that is caused by some objective feature in reality, and that pattern can be described with a principle, and all of those different features can all be described as what the word morality means. But if you're asking like what is the principle that I think describes the pattern, it's any involuntary imposition of will is immoral. What is morality? I think it's like a law of physics. I think it's a thing that actually exists in the universe that causes this pattern. Depends which question you're asking.
Okay. A law of physics. How could you differentiate it being a law of physics versus maybe a like an emergent pattern that comes from certain types of systems?
Well, those wouldn't be mutually exclusive. So like an emergent pattern could be a result of a law of physics. Usually they are. So they wouldn't necessarily be mutually exclusive if you're just saying like it's an epiphenomenon or something. You'd have to have different hypotheses that make different predictions. Like I make a prediction that if it's objective and caused by some objective feature of reality, is we're going to see particular patterns. This pattern that is in all different forms of life or whatever. And if that's wrong, that would falsify my hypothesis. And the epiphenomenal hypothesis would have to make its own predictions, and if they were found out to be correct, that would indicate that that was the correct position.
So if we get conscious AI sometime and they feel, or they have like a different set of feelings that they feel are good, that would invalidate your hypothesis?
If they grew to the level of intellect and resource management that we had, but didn't come up with a model that mirrors our own, then that would, yes, falsify mine.
Okay. Do you think well, I guess this is separate. Do you think consciousness is a product of intelligence?
No.
Okay. So, what if we had animals, like a different species of animals that we were able to identify maybe the genes in us that gave us the ability to articulate our conscious experience, and then changed other animals to be able to describe their conscious experience? And you think there's some underlying law that then would cause those conscious experiences to evaluate certain things as good pertaining to imposition of will?
I don't understand the question.
Okay. I guess, did that sound like what you're saying?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think that as our intellect grows and our availability of resources grows, we will have a tendency to see more impositions of will as immoral. Not sure if that answers
Okay.
your question or not.
I mean, I think I agree. I mean, I agree with that for us as the type of program or algorithm collection that we are. I don't know if I have any good reasons to think that that would be true of other types of algorithm collections.
Well, that's a prediction I'm making. I'm saying this is something we will find out if I'm right. So it's not something we
Right.
know of now. It's a prediction for the future.
Sure. Sure.
What is up, Brandon?
Well, thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Anytime. Let me know if you had any more questions.
All right.
I cannot hear you, Brandon. Still nothing. Still nothing. You try the mic settings. Should be a little mic picture. You can select it. So let's go, Brandon. All right. Have been going for a little over an hour, so I'm going to go take a nap now. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you guys in the stream, and I'll